One of the things that also concerns me as somebody who is philosophically endowed with the way context and evolution happens at the same time. There is some universality to everything, but there is also particularity, and that particularity retains universality in different contexts. Say, for example, capitalism. Capitalism as a theory, it is constructed as a liberation economy. But what capitalist society in certain context, I mean, that is what Marx was saying. You've not considered power as part of the axiomatic framework of the economy that you're suggesting. That kind of economy does not exist. It's a myth. Similarly, the kind of nation state or the kind of new world order that you've made people to assume and imagine, that only exists in book. There are certain forces, certain ways in which things happen in both ways. Like you mentioned, somebody who's sanctioned, who is territorially exhausted, excluded, they find ways to create communication, financial interactions, transactions of commodities and everything. What has changed in a way in past few decades in the regime's change order? Is there some particularity, some uniqueness to what is happening now in Venezuela, in Iran, that is symptomatic or indicative of the fact that the whole ways in which regime change happens, there are certain new additions to it that people, because you mentioned fascism, so people want to fit into the classic way Hitler was fascist. No, fascism has evolved. It has its own characteristics that have adjusted to the new way the nation is constructed. Do you have something to say on that? Is there some evolutionary aspect to how all of this logic is happening in this particularity, or is it the same manual that is being reapplied?
No, look, frankly, the imagination for a new economics has dwindled. In Iran, we're seeing a number of protests. Whatever the reason for these protests, they're happening. The Iranian government has been quite austerity minded in its economic policy. I don't agree with the way in which the current finance minister is approaching the Iranian economy, followed it quite closely. I don't think that the austerity program is a good way. I mean, I think Iran needs to utilize its geography. It needs to dig deeper into its connections with the Belt and Road Initiative. There is another economy being built in Asia. They should actually take advantage of that much more than sort of ask the people to pay a penalty. And people don't want to pay the penalty, and then they start believing other things like somebody will save us from this. The idea of the savior arriving is very, very conducive to forms of new fascism. Somebody with a lot of with a lot of energy who says that I will grab the economy by the throat and I will make it cough out jobs. That belief is in a sort of mythical solution to a very complicated economic problem that countries like Iran are facing. I don't think the government has actually explained to the people what the gravity is or what the choices are. I think they're just asking people to sacrifice. It's not going to happen. People are upset. And this is exactly what then external forces use as a lever to get rid of inconvenient governments. I mean, it's not that you don't have problems in our countries, but we need governments to come out there and sincerely and honestly explain to people that these are problems and these are the three options we have, and we as a government have decided to choose option number two. We hope you agree with us. Option number one is something we don't want to use. Option number three is too much pain for the public. So we are asking you to do option two. That's the only thing that kind of honesty and candidness is necessary for poor countries. Think about the leaders we have. They aggrandize themselves. They don't tell people the truth. I'm impressed, to be honest with you, with for instance Xi Jinping in China, because when you read his speeches, he basically says, look, this is what we have to do because we don't have very good choices, or we as a country need to look again at how we are dealing with with children and social media, and are they studying hard enough? And he talks quite openly about family, about life, about existence, and so on. I mean, I would like more of that, because we are facing a lot of existential challenges as human beings, climate challenges, challenges of energy transformation, and so on, that we need candidness, we need sincerity and honesty, and we can't ask people forever to pay a penalty. We just can't do that. People are going to refuse at some point, and that creates a lot of problems. I mean, I just was looking at Nigeria. Nigeria for 10 years has had a public on the streets saying that, look, we are an oil producing country. Why are we being treated like this by the police? Why are we unable to have basic survival in a country that's so wealthy? I mean, in Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, before that, Hugo Chavez would also speak pretty sincerely, saying, this is it, guys. I mean, we don't have 20, 30, 50 options. This is what we have to do. I mean, wouldn't you like to have a political class that opened the door to direct, straightforward conversation with the public, saying, look, this is our problem. We face a serious problem. And also say the last option is to have you pay a penalty. We don't want you to be penalized for what's happening.